Hello, welcome to Extension Network. My name is Zoe Sultan-Mamedova, and I'm Family and Consumer Sciences Agent here at UGA Extension in Cobb County. As Family and Consumer Sciences, we cover topics related to home, health, food, family, and money. So if you have any questions related to those topics, I'm your person. So, holiday season is upon us. That brings a lot of holiday parties and gatherings. Let's face it, food is a major theme of holidays, except gifts, of course. Holiday foods can be inspire both excitement and anxiety. Excitement to eat all the delicious treats and rich holiday foods, but anxiety is trying to stay healthy and don't feel deprived from not eating those holiday foods. So today, tempting treats are everywhere, and staying on track can be a little bit challenging. So today I'm going to share some tips with you how to stay healthy during holidays, and I'm going to show you a recipe. So tip number one is try to eat a healthier snack before going to a party. This will help you curb your tempting and help you curb your hunger and help you make better choices at the party. Don't save up calories. Low blood sugars from hunger increases cortisol levels, and higher cortisol levels will lead to more cravings of fatty, sugary, and salty foods. So don't save up on your calories and have a healthier snack before going to a party. Healthier snack options can be fruits and veggies, a piece of fruit. You can have slices of apples and peanut butter, and some veggie sticks. Tip number two, enjoy all food groups during your mealtime. As my plate recommends, there are 5 different food groups: grains, protein, fruits, vegetables, and dairy. So try to include all 5 food groups in your meal. Tip number 3, let's face it, all holiday parties are surrounded with food, and when you go to the parties, you either have to bring side dish or some kind of dish, and one of the things you can do is when going to a party, you can bring a healthier dish. So that will inspire you and motivate you. Not only you eat healthy, but also people around you. Tip number 4, keep baked goods at minimum. Make just enough for the party or just enough to give away. Don't try to keep baked goods around your house, rather than letting your holiday, and that will help you stay on track. And if you have more baked goods around your house, you will be tempted to go and snack on them. And sometimes if you see a cake in the morning, first thing in the morning, you'll be like, oh, it's holiday, so let me have cake for breakfast. So if you don't have enough baked goods around the house, you will be less likely to be tempted. Tip number 5, start with broth-based soup or salad and then go to lean proteins. And then, and by the time you reach the dessert time, you will probably be satisfied with only a few bites of dessert. Tip number 6, that might be a little bit harder for most adults, but that one is limit your alcohol. On average, most adults consume about 100 calories of alcoholic beverages a day. Since avoiding alcoholic beverages altogether can be hard, you can alternate between alcoholic beverage and sparkling water. So sparkling water helps you keep things still a little bit more festive, but it also helps you decrease the amount of alcoholic beverage you consume. And bonus, you won't be filled hangover in the morning. Tip number 7, trim the trimmings. It turns out that most traditional holiday foods actually are not that bad. Think about lean turkey, roasted vegetables, nuts. It's all the additional things that we add to it, such as butter and sugar and salt. So try a different recipe or different method of preparation. Today I'm actually going to talk about different way of preparing sweet potatoes, but that will be later. Simply eliminate extra things such as gravy, creamy sauces, butter, crust on pies, and you will shed off a lot of unnecessary calories, processed sugars, and fats. Tip number 8. That one is actually new to me, but it makes total sense. It's called follow the 3-bite rule. So the 3-bite rule is stick to 3 bites, and they say that the first bite is the best bite. The last bite is grand finale, and everything in between is the same. So pretty much with 3 bites, you can get the whole experience of enjoying your food, especially desserts. Tip number 9, be physically active. Any activity is better than no activity. Burning off extra calories during holidays can be key to keeping weight off during holidays. Plan a brisk walk after dinner. Dancing is always fun, and you don't have to do it alone. You can have a dance party with friends or family. And also make it a goal with a friend to maintain your weight during holidays or try to lose a couple of pounds. Having an accountability partner will help you both to stay on track. And tip number 10, get plenty of rest. Adequate amount of sleep is 6 to 8 hours, and enough adequate amount of sleep helps you minimize stress during holidays. You go to family gatherings to gather with family and friends, so do that. Don't direct your attention to food. Enjoy your family and friends. Remember, and in the end, remember, holidays only few days. And if you do get off track during those few days, it's okay. The most important thing is to try to change habits throughout the year. And also, there are no good foods or bad foods. There are good habits and bad habits. So the 10 tips that I gave you, if you follow them throughout the year, that will help you not only stay healthy during the holidays, but also throughout the year. And now we're going to take a break, and then we'll go to our sweet potato recipe.
How long have we been married there?
For 76 years.
He was kind and generous to me before we married, and he was kind and generous to me all these years that we have been married. We had been looking at a lot of different houses in different places around that area, and when we came by this house, it was green, and I love green. I'm Irish. And so I said, oh, there's our house. I know it. We decided on Meals on Wheels because at my age, I was getting to the point where I couldn't do all the things that I had been able to do. We're the Spans. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home walk restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind it wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
French fries. Finding best potatoes.
No!
Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Welcome back. Now I'm going to demonstrate a different way of preparing sweet potatoes during holidays. To be honest, holidays actually is a great opportunity to eat healthy. It's a lot of lean meats, a lot of vegetables, green beans, Brussels sprouts, sweet potatoes, but most of the time it's just what we add to it, like I mentioned earlier. So the traditional sweet potato casserole features sweet potatoes, brown sugar, pecans, and marshmallows. The recipe that I'm going to make today is maple roasted sweet potatoes with cranberries and pecans. When taking a simple and whole ingredient like sweet potatoes and adding a lot of butter and sugar, the sweet potatoes lose its taste and nutritional value. So there are actually a lot of other ways that you can prepare sweet potatoes other than sweet potato casserole that can still help you, that will give you those nutritional values of sweet potatoes. And sweet potatoes are rich in potassium, iron, magnesium, and vitamin C, and of course fiber. So we are going to start with our sweet potatoes. Our recipe calls for 3 medium sweet potatoes. So I'm gonna start cutting sweet potatoes. And I usually just like to cutting off the edges and throwing them away. And I like cutting my sweet potato in half so I can manage it better and it's safer for my fingers. So I'll cut my sweet potato in half and then I'll slice them in half again to create a flat surface when cutting. So we want a flat surface when cutting, that's for safety reasons. So I'll cut my sweet potato all in halves and then I'll put them in threes. And then I'll cut them about 1/2 inch to 1 inch size cubes. So I'm cutting all my sweet potatoes. And I guess while we're at it, I can talk about knife safety rules. So there is a good tip for having a proper knife techniques. It's called pinch and claw because you don't want to have your fingers chopped off. And by the way, I forgot to mention that I actually washed these sweet potatoes before I started cutting them. So you would want to wash your sweet potatoes first. And don't forget to wash your hands, and I did that before. And also when you're making this recipe, you probably want to start preheating your oven, and you preheat your oven at 400 degrees. And I have that going on. So I'm at my last sweet potato. So I'm done with my sweet potatoes. The next thing on our recipe is, put that, is 3 tablespoons of maple syrup. So I'm gonna add that. Cream. 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and I'm gonna do it over the plate because I don't want to spill and end up with more than 1 tablespoon. One teaspoon of cinnamon, and I already pre-measured my cinnamon, so I'm just gonna dump that. And then the recipe calls for 1/4 of teaspoon cayenne pepper, optional, and 1/2 teaspoon of chili pepper. So I decided to omit cayenne pepper today, and I am going to add chili pepper. That will give you a little kick if you like spicy foods. And if no, it's perfectly fine to leave it out. And then 1/4 teaspoon salt. So now I'm going to mix it all. Make sure you mix it well so that sweet potatoes are coated evenly with all of the spices and maple syrup and olive oil. So once you've done that, sweet potatoes are good to go in the oven and bake. You can line a cookie sheet with, I usually like to line my baking sheet with aluminum foil because it's easier to clean up, but you don't have to do it. So you can just spray a cooking spray and then bake your sweet potatoes at 400 degrees for 30 minutes. And then when you have 5 minutes left to bake, you add half a cup of pecans, roughly chopped. So I cheated a little bit and I already bought chopped pecans, but if you don't have chopped pecans or if you have like whole pecans, you can just like chop them roughly. So it's half a cup of pecans and half a cup of dried cranberries. So to stay a little bit on the healthier side, I actually bought 50% less sugar cranberries. So, and if you want to be even more healthier, you can find cranberries that don't have any sugar. When I went shopping, I had a little challenge finding those, so I ended up with these. So once your sweet potatoes are baking and you have 5 minutes left, you add your pecans and cranberries and bake that last 5 minutes. And then once it's done, you end up with this delicious dish that you can actually bring to a party, make as a side dish instead of your sweet potato casserole. So that will give an opportunity for your guests to try something new as well. And one thing I wanted to add, when I was baking this one earlier today, someone was asking me if I'm making cinnamon rolls. So I wish you could all smell it, but if you make it for yourself, you can probably smell it. And if you would like a copy of that recipe, you can call our office at 770-528-4070 and ask for Zoe. And if you do make it, we would love to hear what you thought about the recipe. Thank you.
The land-grant university system was created to advance agricultural and mechanical sciences 150 plus years ago. And we realized that some of the research that was coming from out of the land grants, it was not reaching the people. So the Smith-Lever Act was passed 100 years ago. The purpose of that act was to create the Cooperative Extension Service, which was to take the research that was created by the land-grant universities and actually give it to the people who could use it.
And so that was the genesis for the creation of the Extension Service, or the Cooperative Extension Service, as it was called at that time. It was to take the research-based information from the university, from that land-grant school, and get it to the people who need it so that they could use it to improve their lives, their economy, and to improve agriculture.
Well, I lived on a farm until I went off to be in the Navy and to go to college. And my father was a very fine an aggressive farmer. And of course, the source of our advice when Daddy wanted to do something better or learn about a new species of peanut or cotton or corn was to go to the Extension Service. And they gave him whatever advice he needed. And it was just like a constant source of inspiration and advice and counsel, and sometimes correction when he was doing something wrong. And as I grew older and when I came back from the Navy and spent the next 17 years as a full-time farmer, I saw firsthand the great value of what the Extension Service offered to everyone in our county, not just farmers, but everybody in the merchants and others who did business with farmers and depended on agricultural income.
My earliest experience with the Cooperative Extension Service came as a result of joining the 4-H Club when I was probably in a middle school age group. They encouraged us to participate in competitions, and we had to learn our various project areas and make presentations in the local and the district competitions. And also, I began to show livestock as a part of my 4-H project and continued to do that for a number of years. So the Cooperative Extension Service and its supervision of 4-H was an important part of my younger years.
I serve Fulton County. It's a large county. We don't have that many farmers, but we have a lot of people. And we have a lot of families that just simply need help. So Extension brings that human touch to our community. We answer the questions directly. We give it to you in a manner that you can understand and you can use, and you can apply it immediately. So Extension is kind of like that friend next door. You may not talk to them every day, but you're really glad that they're there.
One of the advantages that we have is that we're always on the cutting edge of the newest information, the newest research that's coming out of the University of Georgia. And we are a direct source that our clients can come to find that information. We're a filter for that information, and we are able to explain it in a way that people can use it for practical everyday application, whether it's on the farm, in their families, or in their communities.
An increasingly important element of Georgia's and America's total production of food will have to be designed toward meeting the needs of our own country and other nations more than it has been in the past. So I think the gamut of influence of Extension Service, I don't think has been minimized in recent modern days, but I think the opportunities to expand that influence has been greatly increased now, and I believe in the future.
I think the future for cooperative extension across the nation is very strong, and I know in our state it is.
The simple problems in agriculture have been solved, and they've been solved for the last 100 years or so. Only complex problems remain. Our researchers on our land-grant universities working in multidisciplinary teams will provide solutions for these complex and complicated problems. But how you transfer that information back to the farmer, back to the agribusiness, back to the family or the youth development specialists through 4-H is going to be very different. That's where cooperative extension has always been good. That's what their strength is, and that's where we see them being so important in the future.
We're continuing to see evolution in the production of agricultural products, and I expect that to continue. We will probably have fewer farms, but larger farms. And the Cooperative Extension Service certainly has a role to play in that new structure. They've adapted very well to the changing circumstances and the changing economy of our country over the last 100 years, and I have every reason to believe that they will continue to do that here in Georgia for the next 100 years.
The most rewarding part of my job is being able to help people and provide current research-based information for our clients. They come to us over and over for that information because they see us as the #1 source of information that they can rely upon, whether it's for their farm, their agribusiness, or for their families.
Real life changes. Extension brings real life changes, and being that agent in the community on the ground, being that agent to serve is a pretty miraculous thing.
In all the ways that I had an early developmental life in earning a living and learning how to live as a productive citizen, I would say the Extension Service had a major beneficial effect on me.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.